Good morning, all. A warm welcome to one and all who have opted for this. In fact, happy to say that this time we have got the maximum number of participants registered, and thank you for the continued support. I am Biju Panikar. I am the founder and CEO of Lead Icon Technologies. We have got a product platform called Orbio, which is a customer data platform as well as a marketing intelligence platform. Today, I have got Ms. Priyanka Agarwal, who is our customer advocacy consultant along with me. Hi, Priyanka.
Hi, sir.
Yeah. So today we are going to start. The topic that we have selected is how can we accelerate sales with data? And we are going to have case studies discussed about that. So first of all, let us go into a quote, which is basically a recent survey based on the recent survey conducted by Forrester. They're saying that the businesses are prioritizing customer data platforms in a big way. It is basically, they say that the times have changed, but the underlying data with respect to customer, its analytics, its management, data management, etc., as well as the challenges remain. So that is one of the reasons why people are looking at customer data platform. Before we dive into the case studies, let us go through what exactly are the different types of data. And let us take telecom domain. Today, in fact, we will be talking about 3 different domains in a very quick manner. One is telecom, then we will quickly go into airline industry, about how to create knowledge airline industry, as well as getting back to our favorite automotive sector as well, right? So first of all, getting into telecom domain, there are multiple types of data. One is basically the call data of the users in the telecom domain. Then there is the broadband data that is there, right? Then the usage data, location data, technical data, as well as the social media data. From all these particular information, which is coming from your digital assets, as well as your internal data systems and how exactly you conduct your business over there, this particular information will have to be categorized into a customer, understand the customer household, that is, the family and what exactly is the household of the customer, as well as the different customer segments that can be mapped with that of the product. As Forrester has rightly said it, the times are changing. So what are the new challenges are going to be posed by when 5G come into the picture? There is a lot more access to the data, the speed of the data, and there is a lot more data that is going to come in. Along with that, we are in a world where metaverse is getting accepted even by the old and matured people in technology. It is getting more and more accepted as a new internet and all that, right? So that is going to pose more challenges as far as the marketing and sales domain is concerned. The third is basically, obviously, the data privacy laws. Each country is having, and even now, each state is having that. So we can expect that the organizations to come up with their own policies for privacy and go from there, right? All these particular things are basically challenges that are added to the existing scenario. And we are going to have new data that is going to come in, like that the data from machines, even the cars, homes, household, etc., etc. So the data challenge is going to go up. So to what Forrester was mentioning and what we can see in the industry is that there is a lot more importance that is given to data management, especially the customer data management. Let us look at the customer data. As of now, most of the industries, except for maybe banking, most of the industries consider the data, the customer data, as part of their individual systems over there. So the data is actually spread across multiple systems. so to say. And it is very difficult to actually find one particular information or the knowledge from the customer. Okay, what CDP or customer data platform throws is basically that from the disparate data that is there, it is basically going to be consolidated into one user data repository, which will have all the sources of data, like say for example the data from web analytics, data from internal sources, etc. All these particular data which is pertaining to a specific customer, the customer attributes are going to be integrated into one particular database, and that particular database is going to be the center point for all these particular data dissemination and all that. So is that enough? Getting that particular data into one single repository, is that enough? We will look into that and more. We are actually getting into this particular details. Let us look at a simple customer journey of a single user so that we can have understanding. So when I went to Oman in Muscat, I got a SIM from the airport, and I started getting the SMSs and the customer the communication that was sent across to me over there. So I've got different SMSs for data as well as top up. Obviously, it was a prepaid mobile that I've got. And by the time I reached my hotel, I already got an email as well as with respect to discount and all that, right? So once I got into that particular thing, I got into the portal. I opened up the link that was there. I opened up the portal from the SMS, and I got my SIM upgraded with talk time as well as specific some amount of data that was required for me. I just topped it up. Okay. On the next day, when I got a chance to sit with my laptop, I just opened up the laptop, and then I got into the portal. I signed in into the portal and see what exactly is my status and all that. So in this particular process, when I am logging in from my through the link from the SMS, as well as when I'm logging in from the laptop that is there, my two devices got identified by Orbio or any kind of data analytics tool that can be integrated with web analytics. So that is basically identified, and once that is identified, then the next set of whenever I'm going back into my system without clearing the cache, when I'm using it, I will be my information about my identity will be known. This type of identifying by using a very, very deterministic way is as called as deterministic way of identifying the customer. But all the data that we have is not having a sign-in, especially in more conventional businesses like car sales or many of the other websites apart from e-commerce related ones. We don't really log in, right? So there is a lot of anonymous data that is basically lying in, and the challenge mainly is to understand the data of these particular anonymous users. Even before I log in, I am basically, once I'm logging in, I can be considered as a named prospect. But most of the time, the unnamed prospect or the anonymous data is what 95% of the web analytics data is all about. So we will have to have understanding on how exactly we can identify those particular records. We will come to that later. Now, let us say that we have got all these particular information and all that, and we will be able to send personalized offers to the customers, right? So what can happen is that if the data is not consolidated into one particular repository, and more than that, if there is the data is not consolidated as one specific record, right, called as a user data record, then it is very difficult to stop this kind of issues of sending a personalized offer, late. For example, what damage it can cause in case if a discount offer was sent just after the customer has purchased or the transaction was over, right? Say, for example, in the case of a telecom, if it is, in a prepaid telecom, the impact is minimal because next time I can always top it up because, the challenge is basically the issues or the concerns are basically minimum. In the case of postpaid or broadband, once I have taken the subscription, if it is going over there, the challenge is, the risk is a little higher, and I will have escalations and all that. Then again, in the airline industry, if I have booked my tickets and then I am getting the offer over there, personalized offer over there, I mean, I am going to definitely have calls and emails written so that I can see whether I can get that particular reduced cost. And it causes a lot of, heartburn as far as, the engagement is concerned. But if, such a thing happens once, the car is purchased, the impact is going to be more. So the level of impact can be different, but what we can see is that there is going to be some amount of issues that is and escalation that is going to be caused by such a possibility. So what we're trying to tell is basically that having the data in one particular database is not enough. We will need to have a unique customer data record which is almost updated in real time or near real time based on the number of and the frequency of communication that we are having. Along with that, there has to be business rules that has to be assigned when we are communicating with the customer. So this part is what typically the CDP and the product that what we have, like Orbio, which has got marketing analytics as well as CDP involved over there, provides, right? So in addition to the the CRM as well as the ERPs or the dealer management system, the CDP is getting more and more prominence, basically because of the importance of such kind of complex nature that is thrown by the recent times and how we will have to deal with it. Let us look at the airline industry. So telling that just to create one particular record out of all these particular data sources is easily said than done. Now if you look at the airline industry, there are multiple number of sources that are basically throwing you data, and it is almost important to have a real-time consolidation of all this particular data, formation of the knowledge of this from this particular data, and ensure that the customer segmentation and the behavior attributes are calculated. It is not required to have lifetime value or the scoring done on a real-time basis, but depending upon the business requirement, it may necessitate that. So this creation of the customer knowledge is what can be effectively done by systems like CDP. In automotive, the systems can be varied, the data sources can be varied, but the challenge remains the same. But here, the main difference is that in a retail, say for example, in a airline or in a telecom, there is more frequency of data, and the data when you are signing into the website, we are having a login into the website. It is easier to identify the user that is there. But whereas in most of the automobile dealership companies, apart from the mobile apps that are there, there are hardly any people who are basically logging in. They are going and looking into the information so that data of who that particular person is anonymous, and that makes it more challenging to actually identify that data and make sense out of the data and use it for analytics and further using that for acceleration of the sales. So let us look at what are the pros and cons of conventional industries like automotive. In the conventional industries like automotive, the product is actually tangible. You can actually touch, feel that particular product, whereas in a mobile talk or things like that, e-commerce, it is basically lesser tangible, although there can be tangible products over there, but here there is a real feel good product that is there. Compared to that of the loyalty of the e-commerce or any of those particular things, the loyalty is typically higher for the conventional industries like automotive. There is going to be definitely a people to people touch. Maybe the time when you actually visit a showroom in the case of an automotive has got delayed, but then at if you want to purchase the car, if you want to see the car, although there are metaverse based systems that are available, typically people walk in and have a test drive of the car, right? So there is going to be a people to people complaints over there. There is in many cases there are complaints requirements saying that there is going to be a registration, there is going to be insurance, and over a period of time somebody will have to service this particular car. As it is a tangible product, it's a costlier product, right? So these are the pros that have the automotive industry has got when it comes to actually dealing with the customer. So you get to see the customer more in the real time. You can actually interact and all that, right? So it can actually help in having the customer sticking to you for a longer period of time. Now, what exactly are the difficulties of that? There is less frequency of people coming into your website or visiting you on a regular basis, except for if you have tires, loops, and all that integrated into your business. So there are a list of cons as well. Let us get into the a specific case study that we have for that particular case. In automotive, this is one of the success stories that we have. One of the cases this was during just after the the pandemic initiation was there. One of the leads have got converted into showroom visit, and from the showroom visit it was mentioned that the lead is basically cold and it has become not interested in another 1 month's time. Basically the specific person who wanted to purchase the car has actually said that this car, I am not very interested in buying this particular car, right? But then from there, we were able to successfully get that particular deal closed in another 2 months' time. And the success story behind it in a process flow, I am trying to explain it to you, right? So what has happened during that particular thing, we can call this as a cold start problem, right? Where we specifically have the person coming in and saying that I don't want it, I am not interested, and all that, right? So there are multiple feedbacks that are taken. Two types of feedback is basically the implicit feedback and explicit feedback. Explicit feedback is somebody like a CRM team calling or sending a survey note on what exactly is the satisfaction, or what exactly or how that particular experience was. And when he has given the one specific feedback is called explicit feedback. We get that particular thing. But most importantly, we need to understand the implicit feedback. And here in this particular case, all the implicit feedback was very positive, although his explicit feedback was cold and not interested. That means he was regularly visiting the website. He was interested in the product. All the communication he was actually responding to, and how exactly also the product consultant or the salesman has found him to be really interesting, right? But then we had minimum data about this particular customer apart from the name, mobile number, and all that, right? So what we have done is basically that we have got introduced the mobile app that was with the salesman. You can actually see that it can actually, on the click of the lead over there, you can actually see various channels of communication that opens up for him. And one of that is basically WhatsApp, message, all that. And even the messages are basically provided by the system, which the salesperson can actually update and send it across, right? While the communication is happening, two things actually happen. One is that it actually gets the user to visit the website on a regular basis with a specific link that is there. And at the same time, the communication with the salesperson actually happens. So here, the product that was basically looked at by the user was, basically he was not satisfactory with that particular product. And so another product was basically recommended, another car or a higher version of the car was actually recommended, and a finance option was actually enabled so that the user became interested. So how that particular, information of providing another, another make and model of the car, or whether we do that for all the customers or only for the selected customers, can be derived based on the data. So here what we have done is that in addition to this, the data that we have received from the website, as well as the chat from the salesperson, what we have done is also we have done the remarketing to this particular set of customers. So whoever is visiting the website is basically remarketed through Google, Facebook, etc., where he will be able to go and see, some interesting messages are being sent to him, and then he will come back to the website based on that. So while we are looking at that particular information, the customer identity resolution kicks in, and we will be able to get additional information. For example, when Google can actually throw you the data of what exactly is the age range of these particular people that have visited through them, and using that particular information, we got the age range of that particular person, the other different attributes that is basically given by the social media as well as by the search engine advertising platforms. So we are actually utilizing the platforms like Google, Facebook, etc., not only for attracting the person to come again, but even for data enrichment, right? There can be multiple innovative ways a physical customer can be turned into a digital, as well as vice versa. We will get into one specific example late. I have seen a campaign today in a newspaper in India. I will actually get into that as well. Right. There are many innovative ways of doing it, and we have actually done some of these particular innovative ways while the salesperson is actually communicating to the user, so that the physical user can be converted into a digital user. So here the web analytics and the chat sentiment is basically used to enrich the data. Chat sentiment in a lesser extent, but more in the web analytics, because we were not so matured with chat sentiment at that point in time. So it was more with respect to web analytics data that we have utilized. If you look at it, the content-based factorization method is basically a machine learning method, can be used for this particular kind of, this thing, and to identify the segment of that particular new user with, the data that is there, the KNN technique can be utilized as well. This can provide you the recommendations of the product as well. In this particular case, we didn't take the recommendation of the product because the number of products were quite lesser. But whereas in a used car kind of a case where there are more similar kind of products that are available, you will be able to throw up better recommendations using such kind of data. One case study that I actually wanted to take you through, where we have actually integrated data. We have utilized innovatively, we have utilized the social media as well as search engine platform, not only for getting visibility, but even for enriching data, and getting all the information from web analytics as well as chat sentiment on how exactly all this put together with having a proper plan and a strategy, as well as getting the people involved at the right time by using the technology and ensuring that there is a consistent process. We will be able to derive benefits out of this particular activity over there. Let me get into an innovative way of doing it. One advertisement that I have seen today in Times of India. It's an Indian, one of the most famous Indian daily newspaper. By the way, newspapers are very famous in India even now. And what this particular ad has actually done is basically that IKEA is coming coming to Bangalore. So the competition of IKEA called Wakefit has actually given an ad saying that IKEA is coming. But here you can see that only what you can read is basically IKEA and Wakefit and saying that there is a specific code, a QR code that you can actually scan. The language is given in Swedish so that nobody understands, and most of the people will go and scan this particular thing. The advantage is that while seeing that particular newspaper, those people will not be able to be remarketed while they use the QR code and go into their website and see that they can be further utilized as well. So here, more than communicating the message using the newspaper, newspaper is used as a medium to just attract new set of targeted customers and go from there, right? I'll not get into the details of this particular thing. It's an example of how innovatively you can utilize the physical media or the media like newspaper also to get the digital footfall of those particular users over there, right? So with that, we come to the end of the presentation. I hope you have actually enjoyed the presentation and have got takeaways. We have dealt with 3 different industry segments where we have actually talked about multiple data challenges that are there. We have gone through almost 3 different case studies. We have gone into how exactly the technical architecture of a specific customer data platform has to be, and what exactly is most relevant is basically having a record for each customer that can actually deliver you the results within real time, and it has to be updated on a regular basis. So with that, I would like to end the presentation. Before that, I am Biju Panikar. I am from the Lead Icon Technologies. We do have got a product platform, and we provide services based on the product platform by integrating all your data into one single specific platform, which is mostly pertaining to the customer. We map that particular customer data with the various segments that are basically created based on historical data, and we map it with the product segments that you have got, and try to use machine learning as well as advanced analytics like predictive analytics and forecasting to help you get maximum benefit and accelerate sales with data. Thank you. You can write down your questions and we will be able to get to go through these particular questions over there. In case if you have got questions, we have got 2 minutes time. I can actually quickly go into the questions. Priyanka, can you please help me if there are any questions? If you can read out, that will be great.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a few questions. What is your business model, and would you be working with partners?
Okay, the business model consists of 2 different aspects of it. One is basically the annual subscription is what we actually prefer. It can be a quarterly subscription as well. That is one specific thing. It can consist of services like consulting and understanding your business and providing you with information about how to go about it with respect to acquiring more customer base, etc. Or your specific requirement based on your branding or marketing or lead generation requirement that is there, we can actually go ahead. But the most relevant part is also that we integrate all this particular data and provide you with a dashboard depending upon what exactly is the software stack that you're having. For example, you are having a kind of a Tableau, or you are into Google 360 or Adobe kind of platforms. We actually try to enhance that particular data by providing you with the services. In case if you don't have those kind of software, we will provide you with that particular software for enabling that. We engage with the customers directly as well as through the partners. I have partners in Middle East as well as in Europe, and we are definitely looking at partners in the other areas as well, because directly engaging with the customers is more time consuming, and we being a small team, we would like to work with partners, but we also work with direct customers as well. I hope that answers the query.
Yeah. Do you work with startups?
We do work with startups, but then we look at what exactly is the, whether there is already a product that is in there. We look at that particular thing. Whether the startup has already done some sales and they already have got a customer base, we look at that particular thing. So these are the two aspects that we look at before we actually get into an engagement with startup. But yes, we do work with startups. For example, as far as consulting is concerned, maybe they will need a lot of data for understanding the, doing the market research kind of activities. So we have got tools by which we will be able to collect the data and give that particular information. But working with them for sales acceleration will happen when they have actually done a few sales and they have got a customer base.
Okay.
I hope that answers the query. We can probably take one more question, Priyanka, because we have already.
Yeah. What is the historical data period that is required for one to predict outcomes?
Predictions comes later. It actually varies from case to case basis. What we will have to look at is basically what exactly is the the business of that particular user. We not necessarily need data that is stored for actually starting the engagement. We can pull the data from multiple sources, like say, for example, your historical performance on your website. What exactly is your brand reputation data? We can pull all that particular data from the public domain, and we can actually start the engagement without even having the data at your end. But these external data can complement the internal data that if it is available. In case if you have got a few months of data that is internal, that would be great to actually start with that particular engagement of what exactly is your sales, what exactly are your internal processes and all that. So I would say 3 to 6 months of data if you have, that will be there, but that is not really mandatory, because that is one specific thing that we have. We can actually pull the data from external sources and start the engagement, and we can actually provide recommendations on how to do the marketing, or we can actually help you with the targeting. We don't typically do the digital marketing as such. We specifically go and do the targeting of how exactly what are the customer audience segments has to be targeted, what kind of messages, and we can also help with the messages part as well. So how exactly the messages has to be personalized for each of those particular segments or each of those particular customers, we can actually help with that as well, right? So effectively, we really don't require data, but internal data, having that for 6 months will be nice to have. Yeah. Priyanka, in case if you have got questions, all of you, please feel free to write to us at biju@orbio.com. So you have my LinkedIn ID. You are visiting me through LinkedIn Live. So just drop me a comment and we will be able to work on that. We can actually chat up. I'm always happy to meet and discuss. Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you very much for being there. Sorry for taking that extra 5 minutes of your time. I hope you have enjoyed the session and got some takeaways from the session. Thank you, and happy marketing and great sales. Thank you.